I'll start. So you guys just wrapped up the POW storyline, pretty much.
Yeah.
So that was like the. Did you divide the season into like mini arcs, or there's like an overall theme?
Yeah, you sort of, as you're building your story, you start putting down benchmarks and saying, oh, maybe if we, because you're talking blue sky, you know, what if by episode 5 this happened, and then it changes as you're writing.
Right.
A lot of times you say, oh, this will happen in the 9th episode, and it happens in the 2nd episode because you just burn through story. But yeah, the way it's laid out is that the first 6 episodes have really been about what they've been about, finding the guys, the hostages, getting a handle on who our enemies are, getting in and out of skirmishes, seeing what's going on at home, the pressure is building on the president. And now, in this coming up episode, we have Takahaya on our ship. So
right.
we can get some answers from him. Why does he think we poisoned him? Why is the cure not working on him? We don't have Rachel Scott, so we have Doc Rios, who worked with Rachel Scott, and we have Rachel's milk books. Can that help us? Can we figure out, is this a mutation? If it is, can we do anything about it? So those big questions kind of start, some are answered, some more are raised. And then, yeah, we sort of progress, and the story expands out from there, and then we answer a lot of the questions that the show began with, and we raise new questions.
So how was it getting the military on board? I mean, was it difficult when you first started the show, the first season, getting them?
When the show first started in 2012, the Department of Defense had a good relationship with Michael Bay. He had
Right,
worked with him a
exactly.
lot.
Yeah.
And so there was a willingness to hear us out. And really, obviously, with our First Amendment rights, we could tell any story we wanted to tell. But we wanted to be able to have access to Navy assets because we thought that would make the show look great. And one of the rules, of course, is that you can't pay for it and they can't do anything for you that will cost taxpayers money. But if the ship is there and you don't get in the way, they'll let you shoot on it. But they wanted to make sure we weren't going to portray them in a terrible light, because what's the advantage to them? The good news is the show we were telling was a show about heroes. You know, we really wanted to tell a show about these people who are in a unique world that many of us who have no experience with the military have no anything about. So it's a chance for us to show a world that no one else has experienced, to put it on TV in a way no one else has, not even since Top Gun, and this is about surface warfare, so that was a unique approach. And then it took really kind of them getting comfortable with us and us getting comfortable with them, and them saying, well, we think you Hollywood types are going to switch it on us and make it dirty or whatever. And we said, no, what we're going to do is we're not going to do a commercial for the Navy because that would be boring, and no one would watch it.
Right.
But we're going to do a show that's an honest portrayal of your best that you have to offer. And also we're going to challenge all of your core values, because steel forged by fire and heat is much stronger than other steel. And so if we can burn your core values at a high temperature and see if they hold, then your core values mean something. So we're going to challenge them. We're going to cross the line, but not in a gratuitous way. And over the years, the trust developed, and the greatest honor we had was a few months ago, June, in Washington, D.C., the Secretary of the Navy awarded our show the highest civilian honor, the Distinguished Public Service Award, for the way we portrayed the Navy, getting them right. You know, getting them right doesn't mean every piece of lingo or every piece of equipment is perfectly done the way you would do it if you were in the Navy, or you would do it. You know, everyone has a different opinion. Getting it right is you're getting the culture right, you're getting the core values right, honor, courage, commitment. You're getting the way they talk to each other right. You know, and that's a challenge in a drama, because in a normal drama I could say, hey, shut up, I don't want to talk to you, I'm mad at you. If you outrank me and I want to say, hey, shut up, I say, Roger that. Right. So how do you say Roger that? There's a million ways to say Roger that. Or shipmate. Shipmate could be the greatest thing, like you're my friend, or shipmate, like get your act together. So to me, that's great. That's like Downton Abbey. Downton Abbey, if they blink wrong, it's like, you see that? I've been shunned. On our ship, we have those cultures. And so we want to get it right, because then the audience says, you know what, even if I have no knowledge of the Navy, this feels real to me. And if you are in the Navy, you can go, oh yeah, I was there. That's what we talk. Yeah, so, you know, it's the greatest thrill for us when some visiting sailor comes over and says, yeah, I had a captain like that once, or you know, I know that feeling. You know, it means we got it right, and we're ripping right from them. I'm absorbing like a sponge everything they do. Whenever I see them, I'm always learning something new. And you and I discussed this.
Yeah.
So, you know, believe me, if I were doing a show about, you know, the FBI or crime family. It wouldn't matter. I would get into that world, that culture, and try to do it the way they would do it, so that it's a real portrayal.
From the outside looking in at the beginning, you hear the concept of the show. Oh, there's a virus, white them what's popular, we're trying to find a cure. In one way, it seems like it's going to be a very limited, focused series. When you guys and Hank sat down at the beginning to map out this show, did all of these possibilities seem apparent to you right from the start, or did they come to you as the show developed and went on?
A little bit of both. I mean, there was a fear of what is the show going to be about? Like, are we really going to be looking for a cure for 10 seasons? Without going 10 seasons? And we knew take each season as it comes, tell your story. And when the season 1 ended and she found the cure, that made sense to us. And then we said, well, now what do we do? Right? We have the cure. And then we realized there's so much more to do. And then the stories just kept coming. And even as this season ends, it ends with a new beginning. And I'm sure at some point, people will tire of it, and they do, they'll let us know, and we'll tell a different story. But for the time being, it feels like there's lots of stories to tell, lots of world to cover, and lots of new problems. I mean, like I said, there's so much has happened just because of the plague that left the world in chaos.